Hey everyone, I'm Adele and this is the second video in my Amigurumi Basics series. I've included the link to the first video of this series in the description box below, so make sure to check it out if you haven't already. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some basic amigurumi stitches by showing you how to make this cute macaron. Almost all amigurumi projects are based on the techniques I will present in this video, so it's a good idea to get really familiar with them before you attempt more advanced projects. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing you do when you start off any crochet project is make a slip knot. Keep in mind, there are a lot of ways that you can do this, so I'm just going to demonstrate one of the ways that works best for me personally. First, hold out 2 fingers and wrap yarn around them. Hold down the yarn tail with your thumb and make sure that it's about 4 to 6 inches long. This length doesn't really have to be exact, but try not to have the length be too short. Take the yarn with your other hand and pinch the top, leaving a small loop for the crochet hook. After that, tuck that tiny loop into the loop on your fingers. Hold the yarn tail with one hand, pull the loop with the other, and you should have your slip knot. You should be able to adjust the loop size by pulling on the loop itself to make it bigger or pulling on the working yarn, which is the yarn coming out of the yarn skein, to make it smaller. There are a lot of ways to hold yarn when you crochet, but I find this way the easiest and most comfortable. I'm right-handed, so for all you left-handers out there, sorry in advance for this backwards tutorial. First, hold out your left hand flat, palm facing upward, and bring the yarn up from under the back of your hand, between your pinky and 4th finger. Then, cross it over your 3rd and 4th finger and loop it counterclockwise over your index finger. After that, hold the yarn just under the slip knot with your thumb and 3rd finger, and use your index finger to adjust the yarn. Make sure the yarn between your fingers isn't too tight or too loose. If it's too tight, it can be very uncomfortable, and it can also be very hard to keep pulling the yarn as you continue to crochet. If the yarn is too loose, it'll just keep falling out of your fingers, and you'll need to keep setting it up. I hold my crochet hook just like how I hold a pencil, with my thumb in the front and my index and 3rd finger in the back. To start off, just insert your crochet hook into the loop and make sure the hook is facing you, not up, down, or to the side. Commonly referred to as just chain, the chain stitch is the foundation of any crochet project, and it is either worked in rows or in a ring. To do a chain stitch, take your hook and use it to pull the yarn from behind your hook to the front, making sure that the working yarn, the yarn coming from the skein, is laying across the throat, which is that little indent at the top of your hook. This is called yarning over. After you yarn over, draw the yarn through the loop from your slip knot, and there you have it, your first chain stitch. You can make your chain as long as you desire by repeating the motion. A tip I have for crocheting in general is to always adjust your grip on the yarn as you crochet. As you can see, I move my fingers up every time I make a new chain so that I'm holding the yarn just under my hook. This allows me to have better control and neater stitches. The next technique we're going to learn is called the adjustable magic circle. This circle is also commonly called the adjustable ring or the magic ring, but that's pretty much just up to personal preference. The magic circle is the first step to making the majority of amigurumi projects out there, so it's a very valuable technique to master. Start off by chaining 2 times. Now we're going to do a single crochet. Insert your hook into the first stitch you made, yarn over, and pull through that stitch. You should now have 2 loops on your hook, so pull one of the loops through the other. For this project, we're going to make an adjustable ring with 6 single crochet stitches. Insert your hook into the desired stitch, yarn over, and draw your yarn through the stitch. You should now have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and draw the yarn through both loops to complete a single crochet stitch. Now do this 4 more times. Now do a slip stitch. Insert your hook into the first stitch you made, yarn over, and pull through that stitch. You should now have 2 loops on your hook, so pull one of the loops through the other. Now chain 1 to start a new row. We're going to increase the circle by doing 2 single crochet stitches in each of the stitches in this row. Here's the first stitch. Here's the second stitch. Now do this in the rest of the stitches. Now you should have a total of 12 stitches. Do a slip stitch to join the row. And chain 1 to start a new row. As you can see, there's still a hole in the center, so pull the yarn tail to tighten it up. Do a single crochet stitch. Now do 2 single crochet stitches in this one stitch. Now follow this pattern for the rest of the round. Now you should have a total of 18 stitches. Once you reach your stitch marker, you can remove it and do a slip stitch in that stitch. Chain 1 to begin a new row. For this row, you're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet in the third stitch. So again, that's 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet in the third stitch. Now follow this pattern for the rest of the round. Now you should have a total of 24 stitches. Once you reach your stitch marker, you can remove it and do a slip stitch in that stitch. Chain 1 to begin a new row. For this row, you're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch of the row. Now you should have a total of 24 stitches. Once you reach your stitch marker, you can remove it and do a slip stitch in that stitch. At this point, you should start to see your macaron shell take shape. Chain 1 to begin a new row. As you can see, each stitch has a front loop and a back loop, and we're only going to work in the back loops for this part of the project. Just like last time, you're going to do one single crochet in each stitch of the row. Now you should have a total of 24 stitches. Once you reach your stitch marker, you can remove it and do a slip stitch in that stitch. Use your hook to stretch out the loop. Ideally, this loop should be about a few inches long. Cut the yarn that's attaching your macaron shell to your yarn ball and pull the loop to leave a yarn tail. Gently tug your yarn tail to tighten the macaron shell and use a darning needle to thread the yarn into the macaron shell so that it doesn't unravel later on. After you make your second macaron shell, it's time to assemble your amigurumi. Before you attach your pieces together, line their edges up and make sure you're not holding them inside out. If you're holding them inside out, you won't be able to see the nice little ridges that you created from crocheting in the back loops of the macaron shells. As you can see here, the ridges are much more visible now that I've flipped the shell the other way. If you flatten out your macaron shells, it'll make it easier to attach the filling. Stick your hook through the two middle loops, one from the top macaron shell and one from the bottom macaron shell, and pull yarn of another color through the loops. Chain 1 and do a single crochet for the rest of the round. Before you finish off the round, make sure to put in some stuffing. Once you're satisfied with the amount of stuffing you have, continue the round. Slip stitch into the first stitch you made for the filling. Use your hook to stretch out the loop. After that, cut the yarn. Take a darning needle and thread the yarn tails through the macaron to hide them away. Finish off by stuffing any excess yarn back into the macaron. After that, you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching. If you decide to follow my tutorial, send me a photo of your final creation. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. See you in my next video.